Coming up, one of the hottest women's soccer teams in the nation hopes to keep the fires burning against a longtime rival. The Montgomery College Rockville Knights are the team to beat in Region 20 this year, and they're living up to the billing by rolling up impressive win after win. But today they take on the College of Southern Maryland Hawks, a hungry team with their sights set on an upset, a win that could make their season. Get ready for a high-scoring and very physical matchup. Women's college soccer from the Rockville campus of Montgomery College, starting now. From the Rockville campus of Montgomery College in Rockville, Maryland, Montgomery College Television is proud to present NJCAA Women's College Soccer, with the Montgomery College Rockville Knights taking on the College of Southern Maryland Hawks. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Brown, and it is my pleasure to welcome in my partner for today's match, Sean Kobrin.
Great to be back with you talking sports, Michael.
It sure is great to be back together. And, Sean, what a difference 3 years can make for a soccer program. Just 3 years ago, this Montgomery College soccer program was in a rut, a real rut. They had gone through 3 coaches in 2 years and had had very little success on the field. And then they turned around and they hired Kelly Wakeman as head coach. Now, her job during that first season was to solidify the program and begin the rebuilding process. She did that and much, much more. Now, in truth, they did struggle on the field for probably the first half of that season, but by the end of the year, you knew something good was about to happen.
That's right, Michael. The struggle didn't last very long. They rose from also-rans to Region 20 champions, and they came within a goal of winning the district championship, which would have put them in the national tournament. And I think you and I agree they would have made some noise in that national tournament. But this year, they come back even better. They are undefeated on the pitch and ranked number 1 in the country.
Well, there is no doubt about that. And, of course, all that success last year and this year has had a predictable result. They are now the team to beat, not only in Maryland JUCO, but on the national level as well. And before the match, Sean and I sat down with Rockville head coach Kelly Wakeman, and we asked her, how does it feel to be the team that everybody wants to beat?
It feels a lot different. The target, I talked about a target last year, and when I hear your productions, I hear that audio clip run a lot, and I like it. That's an easy way to play when you are the underdog, when people don't see you coming. And when you have that target on your backs, it changes everything. It changes people's perception of you coming in. It changes your team's psychological perspective. And it's more of a problem than a blessing, to be honest with you. However, I do have a lot of faith in my girls that they can overcome it. But there's the risk of overconfidence. There's a risk of feeling like you deserve something. So that'll be part of our battle this year. Will be a little bit of a psychological battle coming in. But the nice thing is, we should have it worked out once again by the postseason. We play enough of a tough schedule that some of these teams, if we come in overconfident, they'll put us in our place. And that's exactly what I want. I don't want my girls out there thinking beyond the game that they're playing, getting too far ahead of themselves in the game situation. So I think that if you build a tough schedule for your team and you set up the right opponents, some of that will take care of itself. And that's what I hope, that if my team does get ahead of themselves, that, you know, we'll be set on that. And it happened last year, actually, with the Anne Arundel game. We came in a little overconfident. That was on a long win streak that we had, and they put us right in our place. It was one of our only 2 regular season losses. So if I need to take ever a loss to get my team mentally where they need to be for the postseason, so be it.
Well, Sean, that's a lot of pressure on a team. Every time you come out on a field, you have a bullseye on your back. Question is, can they handle it?
Well, I think they can, Michael, because these women embrace that role of being the hunted. Led by Julie Bowers, they have 10 sophomores coming back. Bowers an All-American at the sweeper position. They've put in the work in the offseason, and they're ready to take on all comers.
They are a tough and competitive group, and we are just moments away now from the start of the game. So let's take a quick look at some of our keys to today's matchup.
Well, here's what we're going to be looking at this afternoon, Michael. First, let's get physical. Southern Maryland's defenders are more than happy to bang bodies for the ball, but Rockville's attack is relentless. The fight for the ball in this part of the field will be fun to watch. Look out especially for Southern Maryland sweeper Jamie Palmer against Rockville forward McKenna Smet. And speaking of the attack, Rockville should be worried about Worrell. Kelsey Worrell can play anywhere on the field, but she's an especially great attacker. She sets the tempo for Southern Maryland. If she has a great game, the Hawks have a great chance to win. Of course, Worrell and company will have to get through the immovable object, which is the Rockville defense. Rockville has a great back line, and keeper Ana Santiago gives up less than half a goal a game. But don't sleep on the hungry Hawks, who have won 4 in a row and are looking to put themselves back on the soccer map with a big win here in Rockville. If the Knights don't come ready to play, look for the Hawks to swoop in and steal a road victory.
Well, Sean, today's match is another step in the Knights' journey toward their ultimate goal, which is winning the national championship. We're also going to get further evidence as to whether or not this team can stand the spotlight and hold off an upset at the hands of the upstart Hawks. We're about to find out how it turns out. The start of the match is just moments away. Stick with us. Sean and I will be right back with the starting lineups and the opening kickoff after this.
Feel great. I mean, last year we came in and no one expected us to win. Like, after about, I think, the first 2 games we started crushing teams, like, coaches started to notice. And then, so then there was more of like, all right, the other teams like came ready, but we'd still beat them. And then this year, they're coming back with a vengeance because they were not ready for last year. So it feels good. It makes us want to work harder because we know we have a target, like a huge bullseye on the back of us. Every team wants to beat us. Oh, I love it. I bring it on.
Welcome back to the soccer pitch on the Rockville campus of Montgomery College. Michael Brown alongside my partner, Sean Kobrin. And Sean, listening to Knights co-captain Julie Bowers, I get the very strong impression that she is not about to let the target on her team's back stand in the way of the team's ultimate goals.
No, she loves it, Michael, and talking to a lot of her teammates, they all love it. They like being the team that other players get up to play for. That means the competition's going to be good every single game, and they know that they've prepared to play these games.
Well, we're just about ready now for the kickoff of our match between the Montgomery College Rockville Knights and the College of Southern Maryland Hawks. So let's take a quick look at today's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Hawks.
Well, we talked about how good Kelsey Worrell is, and she'll look to get the ball to Alex Baker and Rachel Shapelo, who are tied for the team lead in scoring. Sweeper Jamie Palmer, the quarterback of the defense, and Alicia Mosher gets the start and goal.
And the Hawks are coached by Adam Sanchez in his first season at Southern Maryland. His assistants are Rowena Conway and Colleen Liu. And now let's have a look at the starters for Montgomery College Rockville.
Michael Claudia Guzman leads the team in scoring, and she's third in Maryland JUCO. She was recently the National Player of the Week. She's joined up front by McKenna Smet and Lily Trujillo, who is a joy to watch with the ball on her feet. All-American sweeper Julie Bowers anchors the back line, and Ana Santiago leads Maryland JUCO, and she's 4th in the country in goals against average.
And the Knights, of course, are coached by Kelly Wakeman in her 3rd year. Her assistants are Kelly Perkins, Kylie Rasmick, and Emily Urban. Team trainer is Carrie Steele, and there are 2 team managers, Alexis Arias and Tina Argueta. And our referees for today's match, we have 3. Angela Iannini, she's in the middle there. Kian Motashemi is on the left, and Avner Collardo is on the right. Those are our officials, and we are just about ready to get this match underway.
Well, Michael, one of those buzzwords in sports is organizational depth, and you can see that with the Knights, with assistant coach Kelly Perkins. She's a name who came up a lot in talking to Coach Wakeman and a lot of the players. She is sort of their conditioning coach. So during the season and then during the 2-a-days, she's the one who really kind of pushes them, doesn't take any garbage from them, because she has quite a sensitive job herself. She comes with a tough skin. And Coach Nakamura of the men's soccer team, really an institution at Montgomery College Rockville. He gets in the weight room with players of all teams, as you can see him there. And he really challenged these young women in the weight room this summer, and they responded. They look incredibly fit and in shape on the pitch.
They do look in shape. And Steve, Kelly Wakeman has complimented Steve Nakamura every time, just about every time I talk to Kelly. She's talking about Steve and all the help that he brings to her program, as well as all the other programs, because he trains athletes in all the sports that are played here at Montgomery College. And, of course, he has his own personal training business on the side as well. So he is one busy guy when it comes to physical training.
I'm just glad he's on our side, Michael.
That is for sure. And we are, the teams are in their final huddles now. That's Montgomery College in the white jerseys with the burgundy shorts. And Southern Maryland is going to be in, looks like midnight blue with yellow numbers. So,
well, Michael, we talked about College of Southern Maryland in the Open, and they are going through a similar transition, they hope, that Rockville went through over the last couple years. Rockville, the defending Region 20 champions, and College of Southern Maryland has a good history. They're a Division I team, which means they get to give out scholarships to their players. But last year, due to just the number of players, they had to drop down to club level. But now with Coach Sanchez, they are back as a full Division I team and looking to get back at good stature in Maryland JUCO and around the country.
Well, Kelly Wakeman fully expects a tough match out of them today. The history of the Southern Maryland program, as you alluded to, is a strong one. They had a down year last year. They went to the club level. But Coach Sanchez told me that they did a lot of rebuilding last year while on the club level. And a lot of those club level players are on the varsity this year. And so they may not be experienced in the heat of Region 20 and Maryland JUCO, but they do have a lot of game experience because club teams do play other teams within Maryland JUCO.
That's true, Michael. And just the experience of playing together in any sport for any number of games always gets players to play better. It builds chemistry, lets each other know the strengths and weaknesses. And one of the big things in soccer is that instinctual connection you get with your players, knowing when you pass the ball where they need to be.
And we are just about ready for the kickoff now as the official Ian Eni has placed the ball at the center line. And Southern Maryland will be kicking off. Once again, Rockville in white, Southern Maryland in black. We've determined that's black and not midnight blue. So we are underway. And that is Katie Vivian kicking the ball out there. It'll be a throw in by Southern Maryland.
Michael, Southern Maryland comes out in the 4-4-2, which is the shape that most teams we see these days with 2 attacking forwards, 4 midfielders, and 4 defenders. Now, unusual for the Maryland JUCO level, they play with 4 defenders straight across, unlike Julie Bowers, who we just saw won the ball, who is the sweeper.
Got whacked really hard there. She got knocked down, and there is a call. There is a foul on the play there. Number 22, Rachel Shaplow, just leveled her.
And we know that Southern Maryland is a physical team. You wonder if there's any message sending right at the beginning. Bowers is one of the best players in the country, and she got a little blindside hit there, but now Rockville on the attack.
Rockville on the attack. That is Guzman there, the leading scorer on the team, 3rd leading scorer in all of Maryland JUCO. Claudia Barrera with a nice move there to get free. Knights keeping the pressure on. There's Lily Trujillo.
Barrera had a nice little give and go with
Here
Trujillo.
Here comes Trujillo. She gets a shot on goal, but it's well short of the mark. But a good attacking beginning there. This is the goalkeeper, Alicia Mosier, here for Southern Maryland. Alex Baker is number 9. She's the leading scorer on the team for Southern Maryland. Here's Kimberly Ramirez running it down on the defensive end, one of the freshmen on the team.
One of the few freshmen that start, Michael. There's 7 sophomores on the pitch and 4 freshmen. And Coach Wakeman, almost like Coach Carrill over at USC in football, she's going to play the best 11 players. So that really pushes any returning sophomores and lets freshmen know they have the opportunity to get on the pitch if they do the preparation in the offseason. My New Jersey roots showing there. I was thinking one of the greatest coaches of all time, Pete Carrill from Princeton, when I met Carroll from USC.
A Jersey guy there, Pete Carrill. Had that famous Princeton offense. But that's a different sport and a different day. There's Julie Bowers. She took that big hit, still kind of holding on to her back there. I think the person that hit her is probably quite a bit bigger than she is. There's Shapelo. There's Bowers clearing it out. Melissa Puentes. Now, one of the things that we're going to watch here is how the Knights start. I asked Kelly Wakeman if there was a weakness on this team this year, and she said, well, one of our problems this year has been starting slowly, that we tend to play the other team's game for the first 15 minutes or so, and it takes us a while to find ourselves. They've been focusing on that, so we're going to see what happens here in the first few minutes of this game. Right now they're on the attack. There's Smet with a wide open shot at the goal, and it's a beautiful save there by Mosier. Point blank range. Mosier is down as McKenna Smet had a dead-on shot at the goal.
And Smet handcuffed herself a little bit. She was all alone with Lily Trujillo running next to her. She had that indecision of passing or shooting and let Mosier get in good position to run out and make a save.
Yeah, that's what happened. She cut off the angle on her. And Mosier is definitely hurt.
That'll be very unfortunate. Mosier with a great play on a breakaway as the keeper. You always want to make the offensive player have to make a play, and she definitely did that, and she made the play herself with the save. So here comes Smet, and well timed by Mosier, but she really takes a big hit.
Yeah, from Smet. It was not from the ball. It was from Smet's knee that looks like it got her in the quad there. As Carrie Steele, who is the trainer for Montgomery College, the way it works in Maryland JUCO is generally the trainer for the home team works for both teams during the match.
And here's a good sign, Michael. Looks like she's going to be able to shake it off.
That's Alicia Mosier. And so we did have a stoppage of time there on the field while they tended to the injured player. As you know, soccer, the clock is continuous unless you have an injury or some kind of a dispute on the field.
Michael, Mosier, kind of a two-headed keeper situation with Megan Webster getting the bulk of the playing time so far for Southern Maryland, but Mosier impressive in her first big test so far today.
That was a big test, and she came up exactly how Coach Sanchez would want her to come up. All right, there's Shapelo. Gets it over to Baker. And Katie Vivian. Right now, Southern Maryland is aggressively going after the goal.
It's true, Michael, but that is the side that Rockville wants you to attack with the two veterans, Kate Vivian, who's throwing the ball in now, and sweeper Julie Bowers prowling that side. On the other side is freshman Kim Ramirez, who's done excellent, but you want to look to attack the inexperience first if you're Southern Maryland. Problem is that's the left side of the field, so you need a good left-footed player to be able to go down that way.
That's right, and Ramirez is a left-footed player. So we've had 3 knockouts in a row here on throw-ins.
They're matriculating the ball up the field just by throw-ins here.
And once again, Baker knocks it out. Alex Baker from Great Mills High School, California, Maryland. And that'll be a throw-in for Southern Maryland as Katie Vivian heads it out. Katie Vivian, one of the 4 captains on the team this year. This time they go to the left side of the field. There's Cindy Clamato. She's another captain for Montgomery College.
And Clamato, a midfielder, but she is all over the field. There she was in great defensive position.
So the 4 captains are Julie Bowers, Ana Santiago, Katie Vivian, and Cindy Clamato for Montgomery College. The captain for Southern Maryland is Kelsey Warrill, number 6.
And for Rockville, those 4 sophomores, captains last year as well, and they've really kept the leadership mantle going over 2 years. They were the ones who really got the team in the weight room, lots of optional workouts. Of course, Coach Wakeman cannot make them do anything over the summer, and she certainly complied with all of that. But these players wanted to get it out and practice together, play some rec ball, play some intramural, some co-ed soccer, get in the weight room, and they haven't quite gotten out of their shell yet. I think they're in that syndrome of first 15 minutes kind of playing to the other team, but credit Southern Maryland, who's attacking very aggressively thus far.
Jessica Fitch is checked in now for the night. She's out on the field, number 13. I'm trying to see. It looks like she may have replaced, I'm not sure who she replaced. Could be, I'm not sure who she replaced, but she is out there.
Jessica Fitch usually takes the corners for Rockville, one of the better passers on the team. So with Rockville not being very organized on offense so far, looks like a good substitution to jumpstart a little better possession for them.
Lily Trujillo. Here's Vivian. Knights trying to keep the pressure on. Down to Barrera, very strong player, one of the freshmen, one of the few freshman starters, along with Ramirez.
And we haven't seen Barrera have the ball taken off her feet very often. Good play by the defender there.
It's Alex Baker, number 9. Been very aggressive so far this game for Southern Maryland. Barrera, nice centering pass. Comes Baker on the charge. And here comes Anasanti. Uh-oh, and it just is off.
Rachel Shapelo putting it right through the 5-hole and just off target there.
Boy, she got into the clear very quickly there.
She had breakaway speed that I don't think Rockville was anticipating. And you can see Southern Maryland giving Rockville a taste of their own medicine. Defenders getting involved on the offense on both sides. Kate Vivian had the throw-in about 40 yards from the net on the offensive side, and Rockville got burned back on the transition. We talked a lot about their fitness, but Southern Maryland coming out running harder so far.
Well, when we talked to Coach Sanchez, he did say that Shapelo, one of her outstanding characteristics is her terrific speed, and we just saw it there. He also says she plays with a lot of heart, and we've seen that already as well.
Nice breakup on the corner by McKenna Smet. Got in there and one possession back for Rockville.
But meanwhile, Southern Maryland still on the attack.
Shapelo involved in that last attack that was deflected away. Looks like she's one of those right place, right time players.
Yeah. Here comes the Knights. Oh, there's Shapelo knocking down. Looks like Fitch is down and hurt. We thought this would be an aggressive game, and so far we're not disappointed.
And I really like the pace of play of both games, using really all 20 field players up and down the field.
The Knights almost had something going there.
That's a mark of overall team talent. Jamie Palmer was the last woman standing there for Southern Maryland, but they're comfortable being in that position. She's an excellent defender. Teams that aren't strong team defensively can't commit that many players up the field when they have offense.
Palmer is the QB of the defense, plays sweeper back. There's Smet, has it taken away. She takes it back, gets it down to Claudia Guzman, works it towards the center, has it taken away, and it'll be a throw in for the Knights.
Palmer involved in both of those plays, letting her teammate steal the first ball and then winning that ball, getting it out of bounds eventually.
More players going down. I think we're going to see a lot of that today. We've got a real battle for the ball here between Trujillo and Jessica Schaller.
Michael, Rockville has a lot of excellent one-on-one players on offense, but so far the CSM defense has been stout aside from the one chance. They're going to have to be able to pass the ball upfield much better. Great win there by Julie Bowers.
Beautiful win over a much bigger opponent. That's the Shapelo, the one who knocked her down in the first minute of play.
You know, good pass and speed is going to help burn the defenders, but no one is going to be taken by speed. It's going to take a pretty good move to beat either of these defenders and teams' defenders individually.
And we've got a call by the official there, foul against Rockville. And this is Alex Baker.
Another player who's really taken it to Rockville thus far today.
She's the top scorer on the team. Great kick. And Santiago there to pick it up.
And good attempts by Southern Maryland there.
We've got basically no wind today to interfere with these kicks. The flag is at a standstill.
You can see, Michael, there that the Hawks have superior team height. Usually Rockville wins a lot of 50-50 balls. Those are balls like that that are up for grabs where either player could make a play on it. But so far it looks like the Hawks have a slight advantage in that. Unusual, one of the trademarks of Rockville is to win a lot of goal kicks back to their own side and put a lot of offensive pressure on that way.
Yeah, there's definitely a size difference between these two teams. You're right about the height. CSM has the height advantage, but it also appears that they have their players are a little bit bigger. Physically.
Looks like it, Michael. And one of our keys to the game, the Hungry Hawks, they are ready to come in here, try to swoop in and win that road victory. They came ready to play today.
Oh, beautiful play there by Lily Trujillo. Just took it away. Here's Smet. And again, the Hawks defense, boy, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deep on defense there. And they had it walled off. There's Julie Bowers, and she knocks it out. I wonder how many miles she runs during a game, Sean.
Easily the most on the team, Michael. She is playing the ball as soon as it crosses the midfield line. Much like a free safety in football, she is always headhunting for the ball or communicating with her teammates on defense who should be taking it and who should be backing up.
Of course, she's a former offensive player. She was an offensive star in high school. And when she came here, Kelly Wakeman convinced her to switch to defense. Took her a little while to get used to the idea, but of course now she loves it.
Well, Wakeman wants her best player to be the sweeper, and Powers proved dividends for that decision, winning an All-American award last year.
Boy, that's for sure. A great decision by the coach and great acceptance by the player who has benefited from it to the point now where she is being looked at by numerous four-year schools.
Michael, that's really a testament. We talked about how Southern Maryland is a Division I school. Montgomery College Rockville is Division III school. A lot of the women and men who play here, really all of them coming for the joy of the game, but a lot of them have four-year aspirations. And due to the toughness of Maryland JUCO, the great schedules that a lot of these coaches play, and the great academics of Montgomery College, these players have a chance to play at four-year schools. And a lot of coaches like junior college transfers. They don't have to go through the growing pains of freshmen and sophomore who may not play a lot based on their skill level, their immaturity, but after 2 years at Montgomery College Rockville, against that competition, getting the experience and practice, you have a refined, polished player who can come in and make an impact for your four-year school.
Absolutely, and the other factor of that is they've had 2 years of college academics. So they are used to and prepared for what a rigorous college academic schedule can be like. So that's helpful as well.
Absolutely.
Particularly here at Montgomery College, where we have such outstanding academic programs like the Montgomery Scholars and the Macklin Business Institute and other such groups around campus.
Michael, looks like both of these teams are really filling each other out. Rockville has the reputation, but there's been a few plays where relative speed and skill have surprised other players. Claudia Guzman faked out a couple players around midfield, eventually petered out when she was quadruple teamed, but she had a really good one-on-one match going.
Yeah, I think the feeling out period is definitely what we're in here. Quite frankly, I think Rockville may be a bit surprised at the skill level and the size and the athleticism of CSM.
And Julie Bowers really earning every ball that she's won so far, that kickoff target, so turning the ball right back over. But there's been a couple one-on-one challenges where she's lost a throw-in, keeping the possession to the Hawks, and that is rare for her. You usually see one-on-one matchups, the ball gets on her feet and back out to midfield.
Right. And she does have a very strong leg. And we should point out that the Knights are missing one of their key players today. We may be able to get a shot of her at some point. Lena Orbe, who is another one of that core group of sophomores who has built such a great thing here. She is out today for the Knights with a concussion that she suffered last game against Howard. So there's Lena on the bench. I know she wants to be out there. She's an excellent student, by the way, as are most of the players on this team. They take great pride in their team GPA.
Orbe gives great skill and punch at the midfield. She's a relentless attacker for the ball, and she can really serve up a lot of good balls for the charging forwards.
The other thing is, and it could be missed in this game as the way it's shaping up, she's a very physical player. She's not afraid to mix it up in the center of the field with much bigger players. She's not particularly tall, but she is not afraid to mix it up.
It's true, Michael, and with bodies banging, a rare foul called there, and the referees, I like the way they're calling this match. They're letting both teams play. Both are bumping a lot physically, but that was definitely an advantage to Southern Maryland, so the foul had to be called there.
Bowers with the kick, and it's a good one. And there is a goal. That's a mistake. As Mosier came out, there was nobody behind her, and Trujillo got the goal.
Wow, Michael, just like that. You talked about
like
Bowers' big leg, and 3 players had the chance to get that. Mosier was stuck. What a great placement.
There's a great play there by Montgomery College.
And Trujillo, great catching the ball on her foot there, not letting it go too long. Because if you don't stop it just for a second there, it just bounces right to Mosier for an easy save.
Well, as Coach Wakeman said, when the ball is on her foot, it's like there's Velcro on both. It just sticks to her, and she's a beautiful player to watch. And that was a really fine play set up there by Kelly Wakeman.
And a bad bounce for Southern Maryland, who's been playing tough but finds himself in a 1-0 hole, and that's going to make things really tough for them.
Yeah, playing from behind in soccer is not what you want to do, especially against the #1 team in the country, Montgomery College.
And you can see a little bit of confidence building, defensive shape, very organized for Rockville right there.
So Lily Trujillo has been coming on strong. She started the season a little bit slow. As Coach Wakeman told me, it takes her a little while to get warmed up, but she's been coming on now in the goal scoring department and is in the top 10 in Maryland in goals.
And Michael, that's with her working on having a complete game as well. She's gotten a lot of assists, a lot more passing the ball. Last year we watched her, and I mean, she is a wizard with the ball on her feet. She can get by just playing one-on-one, but she is learning to use her teammates more, and these are the things that are going to help Rockville as the season stretches along and in the postseason when one-on-one play just isn't going to cut it. As we saw there, that was a great reception of a pass to get the goal.
Here comes Bowers again against Baker. Santiago, look at Bowers. And that, oh my goodness. Wow, it just dribbled by the front of the goal.
That is a good grass cutting job by the facilities people for Rockville. Just hitting that divot right there. And maybe if it takes a bounce the other way, it's going to pop in the goal.
Dangerous situation there for Rockville. How they avoided the goal there, I'll never know.
But Alex Baker, very impressive so far. She's consistently beating Bowers one-on-one, and Bowers really being her normal dominant self against all the other players.
Yeah, Baker is surprising us, although she is the top scorer on the team. So it's a corner kick here for CSM. They've got the numbers, shape low, and it's going to go back out. And another throw in here for CSM, shape low, throws it in. Rockville trying to clear it.
Little offsides there, overzealous by Jesse Schaller.
And Bowers will kick it. Julie Bowers, a sophomore. One of the most outstanding things about her, she has a 4.0 GPA.
And Michael, you talked about the team GPA being excellent. Get this, they told us in the offseason they made a lot of team goals after being disappointed in the postseason. and one of them was to have a high GPA. Now, you talk about teammates making a commitment to each other. A high GPA in the classroom is an unusual thing for you to hear for a team.
Boy, that's for sure. Now, 2 players have just checked in for Rockville. Laura Galbraith, number 3, and I believe, number 17, Crystal Quinones has checked in. Now, Quinones is a real factor here. She has tremendous speed. She's probably the fastest player on the Rockville team outside of maybe Julie Bowers. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pressure she puts on, and she quickly does. Mosier beat her to the ball there. Otherwise, it would be 2-0 Rockville.
Yeah, good play by Mosier. And we talked about Shapelo on Southern Maryland being a right place, right time. But Quinona is another instinctual player, sort of her counterpart on Rockville. And it shows how deep the Knights are with her coming off the bench. That's such an excellent player.
And Vivian down, just over the head of Trujillo, who chases it down very aggressively. She's got, just didn't get enough foot on it.
Quinona's in the right place, but her anticipation a little bit low there. Had to wait until the ball was on her to wind up for the kick.
Great thought there by Trujillo.
Great play by her, and a nice setup for Quinones, who had a great attack at first, but showed that she just came in the game, not quite having the feel of the momentum just yet.
And Mosher with another great save and goal.
She's really been impressive so far today, Michael.
Well, it's no surprise why she got the starting nod, at least from what we're seeing today. They did tell us, Coach Sanchez did tell us that it would be a game-time decision over who would start. And looks like he made the right one.
Now, Coach Wakeman, ever the perfectionist, might argue that Rockville's let her off the hook a couple times, but she certainly forced the issue and made a couple saves on her own right.
There's Laura Galbraith. And hope we get a chance to talk about her a little bit. She's, you talk about gritty gutty.
Well, she fractured her hip last year, Michael, and here she is playing soccer.
Well, the other thing is she fractured her hip, and she played a couple more games after it happened. They didn't discover the injury until about 3 games after it happened. There's Laura. And maybe appropriately, she wants to be a physical therapist in her professional career.
Well, hopefully it'll be a do as I say, not as I do, because, she breaks her hip and rubs some dirt on it and gets back on the field. As a professional, she's going to make sure that there's better preventative medicine, but quite a tough player on the pitch right there.
Well, that's for sure. There's Kim Ramirez. She looks like she's hurting a little bit.
Now this is about 10 yards back from where Bowers placed a beautiful ball the last time, and you can see that the Hawks have a few more players back this time, anticipating that.
Yeah, they played that one much better. Of course, the depth difference I do think made a difference. But there's Bowers. There's Ramirez. Good foot. Gets it down there deep. Here comes Quinones. And it went out.
Rockville with another chance to attack, and now that we're into the game, plus 26 minutes, it looks like Rockville is now asserting their tempo. So that 15-minute curse still kind of alive with Rockville, but certainly having the better of the momentum now.
They've got 4 shots on goal to 2 for Southern Maryland. And, of course, they lead in the most important statistic, 1-0.
And Michael, with that team GPA goal, you might say big deal. Of course, the players want to be good students, but the fact that they made that commitment to each other, those are things that championship teams do, to care about each other and care about the details, not just on the field, but having better lives, taking care of each other and making commitments to each other. It's little things that make championship teams. There are a lot of teams that are talented enough to win a lot of games.
Well, as you remember when we talked to Ana Santiago, she said she felt it was her responsibility to get good grades, that it was her responsibility to the team to make sure that she maintained her GPA. And, you don't often hear that coming from athletes, and it was great to hear.
Absolutely.
Ana Santiago, the goalkeeper for the Knights. She's 4th in the nation and 1st in Maryland JUCO in goals against average. Gives up less than half a goal a game.
Right, so this is no athlete who's just kind of happy to be along for the ride and is going to boost your GPA. You know, she is a key component of why Rockville is so good.
Absolutely. And, of course, one of the amazing things about her is she had never played soccer prior to coming to MC.
No, and had asthma and breathing problems, so she wanted to come out for the team. And Coach Wakeman said, well, you know, why don't you play keeper? You don't have to train quite as strenuously on long runs, at least. You obviously need great quickness and sprinting speed, but came out and is obviously a natural. Had a great goals against average last year and has improved upon that already this year.
Yeah, she was in the top 2 or 3 in Maryland last year, the top 10 nationally. So it's not a fluke. So it's 1-0. Knights, we're into our 26th minute in the first half.
Michael, the defense really getting themselves set back there and fighting for the ball at midfield, as you can see. The shape of the Rockville defense getting a lot more organized since the early going. You can see from the replay here, little foul at midfield, great fight by Claudia Guzman, and now Rockville back on the offense.
Claudia Guzman, one of the hardest workers on the team. Kelly Wakeman tells me she is just absolutely dedicated to making it to a 4-year program, and the way she scores, I think that's going to come to fruition. Galbraith, another hard fighter for Rockville. She's got some of her most physical players out there right now, as this is developed into a very physical game.
Yeah. College of Southern Maryland really withstanding the punch of Rockville. They've gotten that goal in, they have the better momentum, but they're standing stout. They aren't letting a whole lot of chances get through to the keeper. Now the Hawks with a chance deep in their offensive end.
And this is where they have proven dangerous so far in this game. They had a couple of near misses earlier in the match.
McKenna Smet back in the match. That should give some good offensive drive. Now that the offensive pressure is coming on, Smet a great one-on-one player who really charges down the field, and that might be the change of pace. Rockville got a little bit better at the passing game. Now they have to get back to that hard charging game, putting some more offensive pressure on.
Yeah, McKenna Smet has a real nose for the goal, as Kelly Wakeman said. She is a hard charger. She's goal-oriented, both off the field and on the field. Very competitive player. And Coach Wakeman was telling me when they were working out together over the winter, they would get in weightlifting competitions in the workout room. And McKenna Smet was always in the middle of that.
Another mark of a great player, you know, just wanting to compete at everything that she does.
Claudia Guzman on the break. They try to get it over midfield, and they do. Katie Vivian.
Sure, she'll carry it to the offensive end, and here she goes.
There she goes. She centers it. Nobody there for the Knights. But that shows you the offensive ability of their defenders.
Vivian carrying it all the way out here. Decent cross, but no one home.
Baker breaks it up for CSM. Here comes Jessica White in for the Knights, one of their freshman players, Gaithersburg High School. Wants to be an athletic trainer when she graduates. Kelly Wakeman tells me she has a very complete game for a sophomore.
And Christy Tuell giving chase to that ball reserved for the Hawks and showing some burners herself. A lot of second gear action when Southern Maryland gets a chance to get a good pass behind the defense.
Alyssa Puentes, Laura Galbraith ahead to Smet. Back Back to Galbraith. Passing to space. No one there for the Knights. There's Julie Bowers. And she outruns the Hawks player there.
Well, Christy Tuel had just talked about her burners, and she definitely has a second gear, but she had a good 2 steps on Bowers, and Bowers tracked that ball down, wins it easily.
The only one we've seen 2 players able to match her speed today so far, and that's Shapelo and Alex Baker.
But still, to CSM's credit, a lot of possession on that side of the field. Usually the defense gets the ball on their feet, goes back the other way very easily.
Good centering pass, very dangerous play there. Could have had a carom goal.
And that's going to be where the Hawks have to attack today, Michael. Their best chances have gone when they've gotten a high ball across the goal mouth. When they have the line drive balls towards the near side, that's easily defended so far. Here you can see great service. Santiago making the initial save, unable to handle it. And now we're switching sides of the field.
And that's where it's dangerous, when the keeper cannot handle it and the ball is loose there. But they were able to get out of it. Kim Ramirez ran it down for the Knights. Kim Ramirez, a freshman out of Wheaton High School.
And she was the last woman home there, so great play by her.
Game has moved at a fast pace. Depth is going to play a role today, I think. It's not particularly hot outside, but it is warm. It's one of those dry days where you don't realize how much you're sweating until you all of a sudden you're a little bit dehydrated. And
both teams really getting up and down the field, taking lots of risks both ways because they both know they have good team speed, creating a lot of exciting one-on-one matchups so far.
Yeah, a lot of end-to-end action. This has been a 120-yard game so far. Four to 3 shots on goal. Knights in front by 1. And Katie Vivian not happy with herself there. She was hoping to keep it in. Gets it into Taylor Ramsey.
Michael, Alex Baker up and down the field for Southern Maryland. You get the feeling that you want to challenge her and win some balls, make her chase up and down, but I would guess her fitness is good enough that she can run about as long as Bowers can too.
Haven't heard much from Kelsey Worrell today.
No, one of our keys to the game, and so far other players stepping up for the Hawks.
That's right. Bowers runs it down again.
And again with the offensive pressure, forced to kick it out of bounds.
Shapelo right behind, I'm sorry, Taylor Ramsey that time right behind her, number 23. There's Worrell, number 6. Coach Sanchez tells me she has an excellent chance to play at the 4-year level.
And, you know, in the midfield, even though she hasn't been directly involved in the action, Hawks winning a lot of balls in midfield, and that sometimes plays to players who are off the ball too. When you're off the ball in the right position, the player who's on the ball can commit correctly.
Oh, nice leg there by Ramirez. Guzman to Smet, powerful leg, too high.
Great chance by Smet there.
Another excellent shot on goal by the Knights. That one just sailed over.
Wanted to pop up one of those balls. That's one of the things that Coach Wakeman talks about is sometimes that Rockville gets a little bit too cute when they get close to the net there. That would have been unsavable if she was able to place it just right. But there is a lot of net to play with when you have a shot that close to the goal.
Boy, nobody else there but you and the goalkeeper.
You know, much like we talked about Mosher, the keeper for Southern Maryland, making players force the action. That's a case where you have to make the keeper make a save.
Yeah. And she didn't get far enough over the ball, therefore the ball sailed up over the net. You need to get they've been working with her to get her body a little more over the ball so that the ball doesn't sail.
What's interesting is the Hawks very good transition team, but that's the second time this game where they've been caught where they could have forced Rockville offsides by just creeping up themselves, and they were able, the defense did not recognize that the forwards were kind of standing on line with them.
More substitutes coming in. Looks like Lily Trujillo is back in as Crystal Quinones goes out, and also in for the Knights is number 14, Caitlin Repsch. And Caitlin is a player who is coming back from a serious injury that she had early in the fall. She had compartment syndrome in her leg. It's a nerve problem. She had an operation, and Coach Wakeman told me once she gets back into playing condition, she's going to be a big factor in the latter part of the season. Yeah,
great skill, and that is a tough thing. I mean, when you have a nerve issue where you either can't feel what you're doing or feel pain or just don't have the power that you expect to have as an athlete, that's a difficult thing to deal with. So take a while to get her legs back, but she's going to look to make an impact while she's on the field. And this is something that Coach Wakeman is great at. She sees the big picture. She's going to let players who are a little bit deeper on the bench get into game situations, not just take up garbage time when they're up or potentially down a lot of goals, but to get them involved in the main mix of players, because you never know when you're going to have an injury. And by the postseason, you'll know what you'll have with these reserve players. Sometimes you get a certain matchup where you know what you have with a reserve player and you stick her in there. We saw a lot of that in the 90s with the Phil Jackson Bulls. You'd see their 10th, 11th, 12th guys playing in the middle of seasons, in the middle of playoff series, and somehow these guys manage to step up once the NBA Finals come up.
Yeah, Rockville has a deep bench this year, which is a luxury that Coach Wakeman has not had in the past. Even last year, they were their roster only went about 16, 17 deep. This year they have a full 20 plus, and she's using the bench.
And it's a great enticement for players to come here. The very veteran team with so many sophomores, but if you're a freshman and you have the skill and desire, you're going to get on the pitch also.
Nice play there by Katie Vivian, one of the hardest workers on the team. Of course, I think you could say that about almost every Rockville player. When you talk to Kelly Wakeman, she admires their work ethic.
Vivian able to defeat Alex Baker right there. And you really like to watch the matchups when it comes on the right side of the defense, because Vivian and Julie Bowers work so well together. They've known each other since they were 6 years old. Mrs. Bowers, Katie Vivian's first coach.
How about that? Yeah, I just learned that from talking to Katie recently. I knew they had gone to the same high school, but I wasn't aware of that connection. So they are each other's oldest friends, and here they are, the #1 team in the nation, playing for Montgomery College, Rockville.
And even though they haven't played the same position their whole lives, you can see that they really have a good relationship with each other, knowing where each other is defensively.
Stephanie Ostrowski tossing it in here for College of Southern Maryland. And
as we say that, Bowers right behind Vivian, backing her up.
And there's Katie Repsch. Barrera's back in also for Rockville. Hard fight here between Repsch and Shapelo.
That's a good sign for Rockville. That's one of the things we usually see. One of the things we usually see from Lena Orbe in midfield is someone just kind of gritting out a ball right there.
Yeah, and they need that, because like you said, they have lost a few of those battles in the middle of the field. There's Barrera with another aggressive slide tackle.
Right, the Knights have been getting a lot of free passes, or excuse me, the Hawks have been getting a lot of free passes in midfield, getting their offense going, but you see some fights for the ball, and now it's turning the other way.
Trujillo. There's Smet. Galbraith. He's keeping it away there from Ostrowski. They're fighting over it now.
Looks like it's going to be Rockville's ball.
Laura Galbraith is a tough cookie, as her coach calls her.
No, she's not going to give up on that ball.
No. Very aggressive player for her size. She doesn't look aggressive. You look at her and you just, you know, she plays more differently than she looks.
We've seen plays where she'll just charge right through somebody and somehow manages to do it cleanly.
Yeah.
She's very good with knocking people over, going through them, and not fouling.
She's part of that Covenant Life connection. There are 5 players on the Montgomery College roster from Covenant Life High School. There's a big leg, and that's going out of bounds as Baker bangs it long.
And that was potentially one of those lucky bounces, just a shot that kind of comes out of nowhere, and that, if placed right, that was unsavable. Now, it was a good 5 yards off, but those are the bounces that can affect games. Rockville up 1-0. They've had better chances, but really just a great pass was what got them up 1-0, and then they've had shots at point-blank range that have been off target. They could very well be up 3-4-0 with their true chances.
And we are nearing the end of the first half. We're into the 43rd minute. We don't know how much time was taken for the injury stoppage, so our time is not completely accurate, but we are near the end of the first half. Just a reminder, the official time is kept on the field by the officials, so we're not privy to that clock. Still 1-0 Rockville. Rockville with a lead in shots on goal, 5-0.
Michael, we'll have to take a look. Looks like Heather White, recently back in the game, was sort of man-marking Alex Brown, who's looks like the Hawks' best player today.
Right.
So we'll see if that continues, that she has one person accounted for every time she gets the ball on her feet.
Santiago.
Michael, you get the feeling that Rockville will be happy to go into the half up 1-0, while Southern Maryland really picking up the pace, trying to get the equalizer before halftime.
Yeah, that would be a huge psychological boost for them. And I think you're right. I think Rockville will take this first half as is, go into their halftime huddle and try to figure out how to solve the puzzle here. That is CSM. And we are into injury time now, we're being informed. So the half will end very soon here. Got to figure at least a couple of minutes were lost by Mosher's injury down there in the goal.
Down this right side has been Rockville's bread and butter this season, but they've been stymied there. Good play by Jordan Brown to stop the attack right there.
Here comes Rockville, Trujillo. And she's grabbed, talking to the official a little bit.
Heather White hustling up. Looks like this might be the last chance of the half for either side.
Yeah, I would say we are just about right. They're all bunched down there except, of course, for a couple of the Rockville defenders. So you've got a lot of bodies in a small amount of space. And here comes Moser with a goal kick.
And you can see ever so slightly for the Hawks. You know, you have that internal clock. It's been over 45 minutes in the half and just a little less spring in their step. But I would expect that they'll be recovered fully by halftime. As we said, we've been surprised by their speed and fitness, and we know that Rockville has that same characteristic.
Yeah, these are two very fit teams. That is quite obvious from the style of play. And that is the end of the first half. Our score at the end of the half, Montgomery College 1, the College of Southern Maryland nothing. We'll be right back with a special halftime interview with the current president of Montgomery College, Dr. Hercules Pinkney, after this short break. Welcome back to the Rockville campus of Montgomery College, and Sean and I are pleased to welcome in the president of Montgomery College, Dr. Hercules Pinkney. Dr. Pinkney, thanks so much for taking the time out to join us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a wonderful day. I just want to congratulate our women's soccer team. They're undefeated, and I'm enjoying the game out here with you today. And you guys are doing a great job.
Well, thank you very much, and it is a thrill to have you here at the athletic event. And which brings up the question, what's your view of the importance of athletics as part of the total college experience?
Well, I think you said it, the key is total college experience, and I think athletics is certainly a major portion of that. With our athletics program, we're very proud that we have a variety of them at all of our campuses. And not only do they provide opportunities for students to gain skills in time management, camaraderie, teamwork, and all of those kinds of things, but it has the unique attribute of also dealing with health and fitness, which, as you know, is very important today. So we're very pleased that we can provide that experience as a part of their college experience here at Montgomery College.
Dr. Pinkney, there are so many things going on all three campuses of Montgomery College. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the excitement on all three campuses right now?
You're right. It's very exciting. It's not often that all three campuses have major facilities projects underway. Down at our Tacoma Park Silver Spring campus, we have a brand new performing arts facility. And that has opened, and we are now providing opportunities for people from our community to come in and use our studios. And our students now have access to state-of-the-art film editing laboratories. We have a rehearsal studio there that's top-notch. And I invite our viewing audience to go down to Tacoma Park, Silver Spring, and enjoy that facility as well. At our at our Rockville campus, we have a new science building going up, and we'll be able to provide our students with a state-of-the-art facility. All of our science programs will be there, and it'll provide us the opportunity to not only prepare our students to transfer to four-year universities, but also prepare them to go directly into the workforce. And then at our Germantown campus, where I used to work, we're very pleased that we'll probably break ground on our new Bioscience Education Center, probably between January and March of next year. So we're only a couple of months away from that. And what's unique about that facility is that not only will it house all of our science programs like biology and chemistry, anatomy, and our signature biotechnology program, but we will also be able to provide the upper 2 years of a baccalaureate degree in that facility on our campus. And it's being built in conjunction with a county-operated business incubator, as well as we are nearing the start of a science and technology park on the campus as well. And what this will do, this combination will provide opportunities for our students to do internships, get part-time employment, and who knows, one of our students may be a part of the discovery of the next wonder drug right here at Montgomery College.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, would you?
Not at all.
Well, Dr. Pinkney, we thank you so much for taking the time out. I mean, with all that going on, for you to spend a few minutes with us is just fantastic, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Good to be here.
And we'll be right back with a look at the first half and the start of the second after this. Welcome back to the Rockville campus of Montgomery College. Michael Brown alongside Sean Kobrin. Once again, our score at halftime, Montgomery College 1, College of Southern Maryland nothing. Sean, a really tight first half.
Yeah, that first half was surprises. Rockville's defense not quite as rock solid as it usually is, but still no goals allowed, which is the biggest thing that counts. Good chances by College of Southern Maryland, but the biggest chances by Rockville not in the net. An unlikely chance, a free kick from about 30 yards out, turns into a goal for Rockville.
Yeah, it was a beautiful kick from Julie Bowers. McKenna Smet picked up the ball, assisted it to Trujillo for the goal.
Yeah, and that's really the main players working together, the strength of the middle. But up the middle for the Hawks has been really the difference maker so far for them, keeping them in the game.
Yeah, they have really thwarted the Knights' attack. They've been very physical, and I think while the Knights are a physical team, I think the physicality of the College of Southern Maryland team has really kind of surprised them.
And surprise for us, too. We had the scouting report on Southern Maryland. We were worried about Worrell was one of our keys. She's had an okay game at the midfield, but Alex Brown, my goodness, she's been the best player on the field so far.
Well, let's take a quick look at the stats. Of course, the score, 1-0, Montgomery College over College of Southern Maryland. Shots on goal, just about even, Sean.
I think the chance is a little bit better for Montgomery College, but the thing that stands out to me are the fouls on Southern Maryland. In a very physical game, they've been the aggressors. You'd like to see the more fouls for them if you're their coach.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not the least bit unhappy about that. And we are just about ready to start the second half. Sean and I will be right back with 45 more minutes of action after this. Soccer pitch on the Rockville campus of Montgomery College. Once again, our halftime score, Montgomery College leading 1-0 over the College of Southern Maryland Hawks. It was a tightly played, physical first half, pretty close from the stat standpoint. And Knights had 5 shots on goal to 4 for Southern Maryland. The Knights' chances, I think, were better. But it's a very close match and a very physical match. I think that's the outstanding characteristic of the first half, Sean, would be the physicality of the game.
That's right, Michael. You can't question the heart of either team so far in this game, but also a very coachable halftime. And what I mean by that is both teams kind of let the other teams off the hook a couple times, made some mistakes, didn't execute when they had a chance to score. So it'll be interesting to see what message the coaches gave and how much it sank in.
Yeah, I can imagine that Coach Sanchez from Southern Maryland was quite happy. Knowing Kelly Wakeman as we do, I would think maybe not so happy on the Montgomery College side.
She's very much a perfectionist, Michael, and will find the things that the team has to improve. Even if they were up 5-0 right now with all their shots going in, I think she'd still find things that she didn't like about this performance so far. But in a 1-0 game, there's plenty that Rockville can work on in the second half.
So the Knights now heading north to south, and
Claudia Guzman wins the corner off the bat.
Once again, the Knights are in white, and Southern Maryland is in black with the yellow lettering. There's Melissa Puentes. She actually played in Kelly Wakeman's first year. Had to take last year off for some family reasons, and she promised Kelly she'd come back, and she did. And Kelly's very happy to have her back. Melissa, a really nice young woman, great personality, great smile, and a great soccer player.
And Michael, in the world of junior college athletics, there are a lot of players who, for different reasons, have to leave a team after 1 year. Sometimes they get into 4-year school early. Sometimes they just have to concentrate on academics. Sometimes they have to drop to part-time status due to obligations, because a lot of these students have to pay their own way to go to school. But Puentes, as Wakeman says, fulfilled her promise to come back, and she's the first player to be able to do that for her. So really soft spot in her heart for Coach Wakeman for Puentes.
That's for sure. And I remember, here we go. And it's going to be an offsides. Good opportunity there for the Knights.
Michael, there's a little difference in detail. In the first half, the Knights got a chance because the Hawks didn't see that there was a possible offsides, and this time they were able to move up and force the player offsides.
There's Julie Bowers with the header. Down to Trujillo. Over to Guzman. Ahead to Trujillo has a little trouble with it there. And here's Smet. Centers it. Guzman's there, overhead. Oh, there's a big collision there between Alex Brown and looks like Kimberly Ramirez.
Actually, Katie Vivian, who's really asserted herself on the offensive end. She's almost playing like a midfielder, even though in the defensive position.
Yeah, you're correct. That was Katie Vivian, and she and Bowers both have a bit of an offensive mentality, even though they are defenders and great defenders.
And that really helps when you get a corner kick, or as we saw in the first half, you get a free kick. You can move the defense up, and they can really make an impact on offense. Sometimes defenders there, they're a big body or they have a specialized skill. If you have a tall defender, they're in there for a header on a corner kick. But they have a lot of skill where if they get the ball on their feet with a chance to score, it's going to happen.
We got a corner kick coming up. We're going to try to reset the lineup here for the Knights. Call out the numbers as we see them. Bowers is back out there. Ramirez, Vivian, Clamato, Smet, Fuentes, Galbraith, Guzman, and Trujillo are out there for the Knights. Of course, Ana Santiago is back in goal for Montgomery College. For College of Southern Maryland, we see number 14, Jessie Schaller, and number 3, Stephanie Ostrowski is out there. 23, Shapelo is out there. Taylor Ramsey is out there. Number 6, Worrell. Alex Baker is back out there. So looks like we have generally the same starting lineups we did in the first half, except for the fact that Laura Galbraith is out there for Montgomery College as a starter.
Well, she was a real difference maker in the first half, earned herself some more time to start the second half.
Yeah, we also see Jessica Fitch out there for Montgomery College.
And those were two of the most aggressive players in the first half, so you can definitely see where Coach Wakeman wants this game to be heading.
Right.
In an already aggressive and physical game, they were really fighting for balls.
That's what they're going to need to do to be successful today, because this Hawks team is a tough team who's won a lot of balls today, and there's been a lot of collisions out there.
We just saw that it's contagious. Claudia Guzman, who is always relentless going after the ball, really colliding right there.
And Schaller has it knocked out by, or she knocks it out after being fought by Cindy Clamato. The Knights a little more aggressive on the offensive end right now than they were in the first half. Here comes the first offensive foray for College of Southern Maryland. 22 Shapelo with the speed, but Ramirez had the angle and had the speed to match her on that attack.
And to start the play, Amy Schofield literally fighting off two Knights, kind of used her off arm with the push-off. You see it a lot in football, just that hand on the hip where it's a push, but it's not a push. So she got possession of the ball and started the Hawks going the other way.
Yeah, it almost creates a little bit of leverage there, which allows them to win the ball. Now the Knights' defense will be tested. Vivian battling. She has really improved since last year.
And Katie Vivian, one of the reasons why Julie Bowers was commended as an All-American was she had to cover a lot more field. This year she's able to settle more into the sweeper role with experience and skill around her.
Both of them phenomenal athletes. Both of them have worked very hard. They were two of the key players that worked out so hard during the offseason. They played with the men. They played on co-ed teams. They played in weekend leagues. And, of course, they did a lot of training here at the school in the workout facility as well.
And Vivian, no slouch last year. She just really made the leap to one of the better players on the team. Obviously a starter-level player last year, but now she's one of the real leaders.
Very quiet, soft-spoken. Her brother plays for the Montgomery College men's team.
And it's tough to decide which Vivian sibling has more energy. they both bring a lot to the field.
And as we're seeing, both Vivian and Bowers, neither of them have been out of the game at this point. They both played the entire first half, and it would not surprise me at all if they played the entire game.
No, I think that's one of the trademarks for Coach Wakeman. She does not really substitute her defenders unless it's kind of a game-over type situation, a 5-goal lead.
Here comes Santiago quickly out. That was an opportunity there for the Hawks, but Shapelo could not get there in time.
Good job by Santiago here, not falling asleep.
That was
pouncing
actually
on that
Ramsey. Actually Ramsey for College of Southern Maryland.
Michael, I think one of the main reasons why Wakeman doesn't like to substitute her defenders out is you can always get better on defense. Even if a team is down 5-0, that makes them even more desperate to attack, and they're going to find creative ways to attack to try to get a goal on the board, kind of get that moral victory in that particular match. Offensive players and midfielders, you know, you're working on possession then. There's different skills that you can work on, but in kind of a sportsmanship and a move the clock strategic standpoint, on offense, the tactics change, while on defense, you basically want to do the same thing all the time.
Katie Vivian all the way down to the 18 there. And now she comes sprinting back on defense. Here is Ramsey with a bit of a breakaway. Nice move there. Look out. Wide of the net.
And a good job by Kim Ramirez. Doesn't win the ball, but you can see she's going to turn her once and gets her shot to be off target.
Now there the Knights took a bit of a gamble. Katie Vivian so deep on the offensive end that she had to sprint almost 100 yards to get back into the defensive picture there. Here's a kick by Bowers. Nice pickup there by Schaller, and another shot on goal.
And Schaller started the last play with an excellent pass. It was really still a 2-on-3 situation with Vivian playing on Schaller, but the pass got through both Bowers and in front of Kim Ramirez.
Smet to, a collision there between Trujillo and number 4, Jordan Brown for Southern Maryland. Guzman, here we go. Trujillo bangs it home. Unimpeded. Goal for Rockville. Lily Trujillo with her second goal of the game.
We talked about the transition burning Rockville. Here it burns the Hawks. And Trujillo, that's just too easy.
Oh, yeah. She just played with her there. Smet gets the assist. That's her second assist. Smet to Guzman, and then Guzman to Trujillo.
And Michael, just that leaking out of the offensive player. Well-placed pass. That's twice. That's how Rockville scored both of their goals so far today.
Perfect position. They had the threesome there, the big three for them. They had the field spread. You had Smet, Guzman, Trujillo. They're all deadly. And they went to perhaps the most deadly, Lily Trujillo. And she just had a point-blank shot there.
Trujillo, great finisher, and that's an example of what we were talking about before, that Rockville had some shots right on the goal mouth, and it doesn't take a fancy kick. You just have to get it past the keeper.
Somebody down for College of Southern Maryland, number 13, Christy Toole.
Good possession there by Rockville.
And, of course, both these teams playing for a chance to win their region, perhaps go to the districts and then on to the nationals. For Montgomery College, they're in the Division III. Of course, Southern Maryland Division I team. And Rockville will have to win Region 20. And then, of course, if they do happen to win Region 20, they will go on to the districts. course, Rockville, Montgomery College, and all of Maryland in one of the toughest districts in the country because the other state in that district is New Jersey.
Well, it's tough to tangle with anything from New Jersey. There's a great amount of toughness from that state, good creativity. Really, it's a state that brings everything to the table.
Well, that's for sure now. And there's one team that I know Rockville's hoping not to meet, and that's the team from Guido Beach, New Jersey.
It's a talented team. There's a lot of big, strong players there, very multi-talented. And being right on the beach, they're able to condition, running on the sand really strengthens the leg and core.
Yeah, that's a tough team, and that's not one you want to meet. But let's get back to action here. We can talk about the postseason later. Both these teams are going to be vying for that. There's no question.
Well, then there's the prestige of winning Maryland JUCO, which is kind of a mashup of Division I and II schools. So that regular season title really means a lot.
It does, because for instance, right now Montgomery College is #1. They're tied for #1 in Maryland JUCO with Hartford, and Hartford is a Division I team. And of course, a Division I can offer scholarships. Division III is a non-scholarship division. Another aggressive play there by Julie Bowers. Slide tackling number 13, Christy Toole.
And while we were chatting, Kelsey Worrell finally got her first shot on net, and it took a little in-between hop before it got to Santiago, but she was able to handle it.
There's Trujillo. She is fun to watch. It's just kind of magical watching that ball on her foot.
Yeah, really great one-on-one player. And obviously the fantastic finisher today. This is going to be dangerous with Alex Brown in the open field, but look at Kim Ramirez chase that down.
Yeah, she did a good job of cutting off the angle there, playing her right foot. The defense is there. There's Julie Bowers clearing it.
And Michael, I've talked a lot about winning balls, winning one-on-one matchups, but really it comes down to a lot of the skill that Kim Ramirez showed right there. You're not always going to take the ball right off somebody's feet because they know where they're going with it. It's all about staying in front, forcing bad shots, bad passes, and letting your teammates clean up the play, which is what happened right there.
Number 4, Jordan Brown, is getting ready to toss it in for College of Southern Maryland. And, Sean, while we have this opportunity, we'd like to mention that this game is also available for viewing on the Montgomery College YouTube channel. Go to the Montgomery College YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/Montgomery College. There you'll find numerous links to MCTV programs, including the locker room and past soccer, basketball, baseball, and volleyball games. You can also view lots of other shows that we produce, like State of the Arts and many more. And you can also view this match and many other Montgomery College events on MC's podcast directory. It's fun, it's easy to use, so check out MC Podcast. Visit www.podcast.montgomerycollege.edu. And there you'll find lots of podcasts about athletics, college news, college events, and much more.
Good turn by Jamie Palmer there defending on Trujillo. That's a tough situation, being able to poke the ball away from Lily.
And here comes Southern Maryland back up the field. Bowers chasing it. There's her nemesis, Shapelo, and Shapelo knocks her down. No foul called. Shapelo has got considerable size advantage over Julie Bowers.
That's why the speed has been a surprise. She's been able to run past her as well.
And
something tells us that Bowers is not 100% after being knocked down early, and that might speak to a little bit of her struggles today.
Yeah, I don't think she is. I don't think she's quite 100% looking at her. That was a tough hit she took. It was a blindside hit. Not a dirty hit, but it was a tough hit. But she's not going to come out of there unless Kelly Wakeman goes out there and physically pulls her off the field, I don't think.
No, there's no question. And I think Julie Bowers at 80% is still better than a lot of players at the sweeper position, even on a team this talented.
I agree with you. And, of course, again, we're going to mention that they are missing one of their key players today, Lena Orbe, out with a concussion. That is not something you want to mess around with, and they are definitely taking the right steps there by keeping her out.
That's true, and Lena Orbe actually up there in Maryland JUCO and scoring. She's in the top 20, and you don't see that a lot from midfielders. What you do see is kind of her absence here is helping College of Southern Maryland be very solid up the middle. They've been able to get a lot of attacks up the field, and Orbe is usually to kind of get in the middle of that mix and break that up. Instead, the Hawks have been able to get a lot of transitions going by going up the middle.
Yeah, she leads the team in assists, so she is an offensive force out there. And they missed winning the 50-50 ball there. Shapelo now. Now this is going to be tough. She's a tough player. Here comes Warrill.
It's going to be a tough angle here.
That's a very tough angle, as the Knights were able to cut off the centering pass. Here's Barrera. He's a tough one. Ramirez with a nice clear. Smet with a nice pickup. Oh, here we go. Here's Smet. And she's going to fight for it. She gets a good shot off. Tough shot. Oh, almost into the back of the net there by Claudia Guzman.
And Michael, we really like McKenna Smet's game, but this is the one thing that she still has to work on. That cross could have come a little bit earlier, and there was nothing but field there for Heather White to play with.
She's an excellent goal scorer. They're working on her assisting, her assist skills, and that was almost an opportunity there, very close.
You take that trade-off, though, because when Smet gets some momentum behind her, we've seen her more often than not be able to charge right at the goal and get a good scoring opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And that is normally her preferred route, which is straight to the goal.
And not many people are stopping her.
No. She's a very physical player, fast, athletic. She is sporting a wrap on her wrist today. I'm not quite sure what the injury might be there. But this is the time of the year when you get the little injuries starting to crop up.
Right. And Montgomery College, Rockville, fortunate they have Lena Orbe out, and it's the time of the year where no one's going to feel bad for you. Everybody's nicked up, either has a player or two out or players who are hurt playing on the field. So that's a great time to have a deep bench, to have the players that are a little deeper on the bench get some game experience so they're ready to come in when you get an injury to one of your starters or your key reserves. And speaking of that, Stella Guillo is seeing her first action on the field, and she's someone who's been getting into the mix, getting better with every game she's been out there.
Yeah, she's a freshman from Wheaton High School and criminal justice major. A lot of criminal justice majors on this Montgomery College team. There's an excellent criminal justice program here at the college headed up by Kevin Stone, and it's an excellent program. They send a lot of kids on to four-year schools with that major, and they also a lot of police officers in Montgomery County have taken that curriculum here at Montgomery College.
Well, Michael, we talked about it as Trujillo is going to get another scoring chance here.
Here we go. Trujillo, Smet. Up ahead to Smet. Ooh, and it goes in. Trujillo to Smet. She didn't get much on it, but she had a nice angle, and the goalkeeper committed, and she got it by her.
Jordan Brown does everything that she can here, staying with the play to the last second and gets a little piece of it, as does Mosher, but that ball goes in. Smet, great placement there.
Perfect placement. So Smet, another top 10 scorer in Maryland JUCO. She's also ranked nationally.
This is going to be a great building goal for Smet. We mentioned earlier she was a little pretty with the ball close to the net before, trying to make the perfect shot. That is the correct shot because it went in.
Interesting thing I saw there was as Trujillo is dribbling down the field, she was talking to Smet. And I think a little communication going on there may have turned the tide on that goal.
And that's great to see. Trujillo really in a rhythm this game.
Boy, she really looks good out there. Very smooth. 2 goals and an assist for Trujillo, a goal and an assist for Smet, and the other assist goes to Guzman as Montgomery College holding a 3-0 lead, and now we're getting into desperation time for Adam Sanchez and the College of Southern Maryland as we're into the 66-minute mark now for the game.
One of the things we'll probably see here is Rockville has excellent front runners. You know, they have that mentality of kind of stepping on the neck when someone is down. They're going to keep the offensive pressure up and look to keep the ball on this side of the field. That way Southern Maryland won't even get a chance to get within one goal.
Yeah, they play very well out front. They don't quit. They don't say, okay, we have enough, because really there's never enough. And with the great offensive stars that they have, you can't hold them back. They're like stallions out there.
And it's really demoralizing for other teams that, you know, you see a 3-0 score on the board and you think that a team might relax, you might be able to sneak one in, but no, it's the Knights keep on coming.
Well, that's a mark of a team that has big goals in mind. And the Knights certainly have some big goals in mind for this season.
Crystal Quinones back on the field. Wakeman congratulating McKenna Smet, who comes off the field.
Yeah, Quinones has not been out here in the second half yet, and that's another offensive threat that they have coming off the bench.
Yeah, just when you think, oh, good, McKenna Smet's out. She has the goal today. She has a helper, and you get someone who brings something different to the table and can put the ball in the net.
Yep, she's probably the fastest player on the team, as we said, outside of possibly Julie Bowers. And here's Barrera with an offensive charge, as the Knights are definitely keeping the pressure on here.
I really like the approach that the Knights take under Wakeman. It's sort of that best defense is a good offense, because packing players back on the defensive end and being passive, it only helps teams get organized on the offensive end, be able to get creative, and you might be able to sneak one past the keeper. The best way to prevent the ball going in the net is keeping it on your offensive side of the field.
That's right. That's an excellent point. It really is the best defense.
Now, that's easier said than done. Credit the Knights to be able to play that strategy when they're out in front.
And here comes Santiago out. She's had a bit of an easier second half. She had a couple of anxious moments in the first half. A couple of close and good opportunities for Southern Maryland. She's a little bit there at the beginning of the second half. They put on a couple of nice charges, but it's been pretty much Knights since about 5 minutes into the second half. Here's Quinones, centers it. Trujillo couldn't quite get there in time.
That's one of those things that I think the Knights are going to work on as the season goes on, anticipating those crosses to the middle. Not one of their strengths offensively is getting those crosses, but then it looks like sometimes players aren't ready to receive a ball up there either.
Right. It looks like they're having a little bit of trouble converting on those crosses. Boy, if they can get that part of the game down, the timing on that, man, they are going to be very, very tough to beat.
I think we're channeling Coach Wakeman here, because with a 3-0 lead, you can't criticize too much, but that's definitely something that in the big picture they're going to look to improve on.
No, Coach Wakeman's got to be quite happy with the 3-0 lead. But, you know, when you've got, again, I keep going back to it, when you have big goals in mind, you're always looking to improve. And, of course, she has built a very tough schedule this year. You look at this year's schedule versus last, it is night and day in terms of the quality of teams they're playing, because they still have a trip to upstate New York where they're going to play top 10 Herkimer. Actually, Herkimer is number 2 in the country, right behind the Knights. Then later in the season, they're going to travel down to North Carolina to play Lewisburg, which is a really tough Division I opponent, also another top 10 team. So she is building gradually towards the playoffs, because she knows what kind of competition they're going to face when they get to the postseason.
Well, she doesn't want her players to be caught napping. The College of Southern Maryland has come out and played an excellent game, but is not up to the skill level of a top 10 team. I mean, they're just not. And the Knights have to stay sharp against these higher tier teams that if they're not coming out and playing their best, they're going to get beat. I think the performance in the first half against one of the top 10 teams, the Knights would probably be staring a 2-0 deficit in the face at halftime. Now, one of the successes of the early season with that difficult schedule is the Knights were able to play Oxford College, which is a team that beat them in the districts last year. And that was, you know, you never want to have a regular season revenge game because that means you got beat in the previous postseason. But it always
Right.
does feel good, and they were able to knock off Oxford this year. Michael, here's Alex Brown holding the ball out here as the substitution comes in.
All right. You know, Sean, one of the great things about working here at Montgomery College Television is that we get to work with many of the students in the television program here at the college. And as a matter of fact, we could not do a game like today without students serving valuable roles on our crew. And today we have a number of current and former students helping us out today. There's Garrett Quinn on the right, Alex Marquez on the left. And we've got some other students helping us out today. We're trying to get shots of them. There's Ben Schnapp. Ben is on the left there. He's a student at the scoring table today helping us out. There's Corey Wallace, a former student on camera up there, giving us a lot of great shots throughout the match. And there's a Corey Wallace shot right there. And we also have Stephen Burdett, Ivy Swope, Jonathan Counts, and Patrick Seibert on the crew today. So we want to thank those students for all their help. Really could not do these games without them.
No, Michael, and the laboratory of being able to learn TV while you're at Montgomery College is one of the best that I've seen in colleges anywhere, 2-year or 4-year. And you look at Garrett Quinn, who was the first person we saw along with Alex. He is a professional in the area. He works on every major production of live TV. And, you know, he's been featured on local news. He's quite the success story for Montgomery College.
Yeah, he sure is. He was even involved in shooting the inauguration of President Obama.
And those are the sort of success stories that happen in all majors across Rockville, but we get to see the TV students firsthand.
That's right, because many of them, as we said, come back and help us out. There's Jessica White, freshman for Montgomery College.
Melissa Puente is back in. She was a starter in this game and hasn't seen a lot of action in the second half. She was part of the slower start from the midfield, but a skilled player who has earned starting time, so a good lesson to kind of sit on the bench, see what's going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if she really contributes during the latter stretch of this game.
And Allie Spicer is also out there for the Knights, fighting for the ball right now. Number 19.
And Spicer is one of those players that I think Coach Wakeman hopes is going to be a 2-year player because she is incredibly scrappy. We saw a game where in an unsettled situation, she kicked the ball out of a goalkeeper's hands when the keeper did not possess the ball. Clean play for a goal, and teaches that lesson that Rockville struggles with sometimes, that a goal is a goal. You know, it goes in the book as a screaming 5-yarder. It doesn't necessarily have to be pretty.
That's right. A goal is a goal. So Rockville, you got to say they're dominating the second half here.
I think they've really came out with good pace. The ball has barely been on this defensive end, and aside from a couple early chances from Southern Maryland, it's been all Rockville.
As the Knights held a big 3-0 lead. Of course, in soccer, a 3-0 lead is probably equivalent to 3 or 4 touchdowns in football, at least 3 touchdowns in football.
Yeah, and the shutout just as difficult. Not quite as rare as you see in football, but that's a credit to Ana Santiago, who just handled the ball there. At this point of the game, you start thinking shutout because it's a great motivator to the whole team, not just a pad on your own statistics. So you don't want to be, as the last line of defense there, you don't want to be napping when a ball gets near you.
Absolutely not. And, of course, I think knowing Ana Santiago as we do, there will be no napping done at all. She trains really hard, come a long way in her 2 years as keeper here. Selaguio back in for the Knights. Jessica White. Allie Spicer still out there. Still a very formidable team for the Knights as Mosher comes all the way out.
caught a little bit offsides there. That's one of the things that we saw in the past. Lily Trujillo likes to leak past the back defensive line, and she's been nabbed a couple times today, but she's really improved on that skill. She would be caught yards in front of the back defensive line in prior seasons, and now it's just sort of one of those 50-50 situations where you may or may not make the call as the line official.
There's a rare chance for the defense, particularly in the last 10-15 minutes. I mean, when you think of all the running that Bowers and Vivian and Ramirez had to do in the first half, you're right, the second half has been a little easier on their bodies.
And that's the signature move that we're used to seeing for Bowers. Chasing down a ball and giving a clearance that is a good 50-50 ball, usually near one of our players, not even a toss-up kind of ball. And you see that the play is right back out to midfield, Rockville's possession.
And we're into the 75th minute now. So we've got about 15 minutes to go in the game.
Lily Trujillo getting a rest.
She's played most of the way as she and Smet are thanking each other and congratulating each other on their play so far today. This is a very close team. Really, really good, tight team chemistry. Here's Quinones. And the defender there had the angle on her.
You know, and talking to Cindy Clamato, who started that play and who's back in the game herself, you can see the kind of leader that she is. We talked to a bunch of players and Coach
Guzman with a nice move. Oh, nice save there by Masher.
But a good job by Guzman making Masher make a play there.
Nice little turn move here. We didn't see the beginning of it, but it was a great little turn move there by Guzman to free herself in front of the goal. Very nearly 4-0 Rockville. That just skipped over the top. Nice heads-up save by Mosier. Alicia Mosier from Mansfield, Texas, all the way to College of Southern Maryland.
Very close to an own goal there.
Almost.
Another transition situation here, but Kim Ramirez cleans it up. She was the only woman back.
Boy, she won that ball.
And that's a great confidence booster there.
Boy, that's a big play.
I stand corrected. Of course, Julie Bowers was about 10 yards behind that, backing her up, but just out of our field of view.
Julie Bowers is always there.
But getting back to Cindy Clamato was the only player out of all the players we talked about saying, you know, our team chemistry could be a little bit better. Every other player is saying, yeah, we're closer than last year, and that's kind of the diversity of leadership that Rockville has. You know, Clamato always gets the players organized. Coach Wakeman is a teacher. Sometimes is late to practice. We'll get there at 3:03, 3:04. But practice starts at 3 o'clock, and she's one of those leaders who makes sure the team is organized, kind of getting stretched and loosened up to start their practice.
Well, it's also very good to see Cindy back out there. Oh, great play there by Guzman. What a steal. And then she gets banged down. But Cindy suffered an injury to her knee last year. As a matter of fact, it was one of the games we did, the Frederick game. And she told me that the knee literally popped out. They had to pop it back in. She missed quite a few games after that, but she's feeling much better this year.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that continue to haunt you as time goes on, but you wouldn't see it from the way that she plays. She admitted to us that it's in her head a little bit, but I think maybe she says that but doesn't act that way.
Big collision there between Claudia Guzman and number 18, Jamie Palmer, the sweeper. Both of them hurting a little bit. So we had a stoppage of time there. And Southern Maryland throws it back in. But just back to Cindy Clamato one more time real quickly. Although here, almost a good opportunity there for Montgomery College. Cindy, according to Kelly Wakeman, has an electric personality. She just lights up the room. She says she's the only player on the team who can get me out of a bad mood.
And every team needs that to be able to go somewhere. You need not just leadership in conditioning, leadership in skill play. You need a personality leader who's a positive person. And there's not much better example of that than Cindy Clamato.
No, she's a lot of fun to talk to.
And all the sports fans watching this, you can get examples galore of personality leaders on teams who are positive or negative. And whenever you get those negative personality leaders, it's invariably one of those teams that, oh, they're so good on paper. How come they're 500 or they had a losing season? It's, you know, personality is infectious, and when you have a leader who's doing the right things, it's easy to take that on. And when they're doing the wrong things, it's easy to let yourself slide.
So we are now into the 82nd minute, and time is running out on College of Southern Maryland as they are losing 3-0 here. And they really, other than a couple of nice chances at the beginning of the second half, their offense has been very quiet here in the second half.
Right. It's tough to even get into desperation mode on the offensive end when you're not playing offense.
And they really haven't been. It's been most of the action in this half has been in the Knights' offensive end of the pitch.
Credit that to better possession from the forwards and the middies on the Knights, who had a subpar performance in the first half.
And we have Ashley Thurr is now in at goalkeeper for the Knights. The last 10 minutes of the game or so, Kelly Wakeman decided to give her some quality time out there. So Ashley is a freshman from Darnestown, went to Northwest High School, and she's getting some action today.
Ana Santiago, a fixture in net, but you need to have a good in your backup keeper, because that's the only player at that position. You know, there's a lot of multi-skilled players on this team. There's a lot of depth, but the backup keeper is one of the most valuable things you can have on your team. It's like a good backup quarterback in football.
That's right. You can never have too many good goalkeepers. That's, you know, we've talked about Steve Nakamura earlier, the head coach of the men's team, and that's one of his favorite statements is they will redshirt a goalkeeper to keep him on the squad, even if they have two good goalkeepers ahead of them.
And fans of the Montgomery College podcast channel will be able to see our men's broadcast against CCBC Essex, and that's coming up this season, and we're not sure who's going to be in the net for the men because they have two excellent goalkeepers.
So it's nice. Last year, Rockville did not. This is a position where they've gained depth this year. Last year, they really did not have a good backup goalkeeper. And this year, they've got a quality netminder in Thurr, who is very technically strong, according to Kelly Wakeman, who should know. She, after all, was a goalkeeper herself in her playing career and was a goalkeeper coach at Muhlenberg College in Pennsylvania before she became head coach here at Montgomery College. So Quinones checks out.
Veronica Naki seeing her first action.
Also, Rebecca Malamut is checking in. So, and McKenna Smet checking out. So, with the Knights up 3-0, less than 5 minutes to go in the match, Kelly Wakeman giving her starters a breather and some of her younger players some in-game experience. However, there's one player who is not coming out, and that's Julie Bowers, who just cleared it out to the offensive end.
That's right. Those three players in the back line are just not going to come out. We've seen times before where if Bowers might play some midfield, might play some forward, but she's just always going to be on the pitch.
Like I said, I think Kelly Wakeman would have to drag her off the field to get her out of there.
Well, you talk about Coach Wakeman being a keeper in her past life of being a player, and it's that precision of being a keeper that I think makes her such a good coach and so focused, able to see the big picture, but also knows the value of the defense and never wants to leave her keeper shorthanded with players who don't usually start in front of her.
Absolutely. And you know, Sean, it's getting to that time of the game when we really kind of need to start thinking about our player of the game. It's been a rough type of match to call a player of the game, but we really need to pick one. So, Sean, it's your job. Who's it going to be?
Well, much to the chagrin of many of the Rockville players who had an excellent performance, I think Lily Trujillo has to be the player of the game. She had the first goal of the game and was a factor in every goal this game. She has 2 goals and the assist on the 3rd goal. So she really was the factor in the icebreaker, gave the team the 2-goal cushion, and then made the play to give them the 3-goal lead, which really put the game away.
And I really think, in thinking about her game, that first goal was so important, because at that point in the game, Montgomery College was being outplayed a bit by the College of Southern Maryland. They were a little bit back on their heels. I think they were a little taken back by the physical play and also the speed of Southern Maryland. And Lily Trujillo's goal just kind of turned the tide in that first half. And from that point on, we kind of saw Montgomery College start to play their game more rather than playing the College of Southern Maryland game.
You're right, Michael, and it's one of those underrated aspects of soccer, especially for the uninitiated. You know, you look at a lot of the major sports, basketball, football, especially people look at hockey. You know, all it takes is one little play and you get a goal. I think everybody who likes sports is a fan of playoff hockey, but all it took was a foul 40 yards from the goal, a great pass, and a put away by Trujillo, and all of a sudden Rockville's up 1-0 even though they were being outplayed.
And that has really turned the tide, and the second half has been all Montgomery College, and again Trujillo an integral part of that as well. So we're playing out the string here as a shot on goal there by
Fuentes, with Nikki getting in the middle of the action.
And that's good to see. I'm sure Kelly Wakeman is really happy about that. There's Barrera, who's had a very strong game in the midfield. She can play, another player who's very versatile, can play a lot of different positions.
Michael, that's an aspect that I really like to see on this Rockville team. When you can play a lot of positions well, that means you can play especially your primary position well, because you understand what the other players around you should be doing.
Yeah, and that versatility, particularly at this level, where you maybe don't always have the deepest bench as you would like, allows you to insert players in different positions to fill in for injured players or players who may have a class or whatever.
And it is a good team aspect to boot. You know, if one player is playing well, but they're at the midfield but has a backup at midfield, she might be able to slide to forward. She might be able to slide back to defense and stay in the game, but let one of the reserves get some run as well.
Clamato making some nice plays all over the field today. One thing I noticed about her speed has definitely improved this year. She said she's really been working on it.
Yeah, and she's really been the anchor in this front-running situation. She's controlled a lot of the action on the right side. I don't think she's been on the defensive side of the field for many minutes at all since she's been in the second half.
No, she's played most, if not all, of the second half here. There's Rebecca Malamut. But there's dependable Katie Vivian. That defense has really been something today for the Knights. If we could have a three-headed player of the game, I think it would, well, maybe a four-headed player of the game, counting Ana Santiago, it'd be that defense plus Santiago. They did a great job.
I think so. What a strange player of the game that would be, though.
That is the end of our game. Our final score, the Montgomery College Rockville Knights 3, the College of Southern Maryland Hawks nothing. Sean and I will be right back with the final stats and a wrap-up of the game after this. Welcome back to the Rockville campus of Montgomery College. Michael Brown alongside my partner Sean Kobrin. We've just watched Montgomery College score a very convincing win over the College of Southern Maryland, 3-0. Sean, pretty dominating performance, especially in the second half for Montgomery College.
I think so, and it's been their season in a nutshell. We talked about Montgomery College, Rockville having the targets on their back, and we saw that. The College of Southern Maryland really took it to them, in particular Alex Brown, who you saw really, she didn't have as much energy in the second half, but she was miss everything in the first half. She was the best player on the field for 45, but Rockville got that first goal before halftime and really put it away in the second half.
Boy, Lily Trujillo, of course, we named her our player of the game. There was a number of other Rockville players that we certainly could have named as well, but she really turned the tide here today with that goal in the first half. That came at that moment of the first half when College of Southern Maryland was really putting a lot of pressure on the Knights. And then in the second half, she just kind of ran wild. She scored the second goal of the game, ably assisted by Guzman, and then she assisted on the third.
And really the leadership at the forward position is something that stood out to us too, communicating with the players and really setting up McKenna Smet's goal by talking to her and with the able pass. And Kim Ramirez, we talked a lot about the two of the three players in the back, and we thought maybe that's the place to attack. But I think she might have been the best defender today. She really shut down that left side attack in the second half.
Boy, she really did. And she had a number of fine plays where she just almost effortlessly picked their pocket, took the ball, and it went the other way. So, Sean, let's take a quick look at some of the final stats. Anything really jump out at you besides the score, of course?
Well, we talked about that Southern Maryland had more fouls in the first half, but they had an equal number in the second half, and that shows that Montgomery College Rockville was able to raise their physical game and be able to be just as physical as Southern Maryland, and that was the difference maker. They were able to win a lot more balls in the midfield and weaken that strength from the first half for Southern Maryland.
And just to recap the scoring again, Lily Trujillo with 2 goals and an assist, McKenna Smet with a goal, and Claudia Guzman with an assist. And once again, our final score from the Rockville campus of Montgomery College, the Montgomery College Rockville Knights 3, the College of Southern Maryland Hawks nothing. From all of us at Montgomery College Television, thanks for watching, everybody.